Hey guys, it's Will. And APLD stock has been on a move today. We saw that yesterday we pointed out this trend. We said it's a downtrend. We were in a position, it sold down pretty heavily. And I said, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. If it bounces here, it's actually kind of starting this downtrend. Maybe it makes its way back up. It was one of the only AI related stocks today that was really in the green. It's up 16%. So just to kind of go through the thought process here, we kind of looked at this trend. I think it's this trend right here. Yeah, that's the trend. So there's a trend that was happening in this level that we were expecting maybe a bounce. And then recently we saw that it did kind of bounce. And APLD builds the data centers for companies like NVIDIA. And what we're seeing as of recently, if I can just refresh the page actually, because it's looking a little odd. Essentially, APLD did bounce. It's starting to recover. It's pushing up to this moving average, and it was up 16% today. So quite the recovery. We know yesterday they didn't have necessarily bad earnings, but as a result, they still sold off pretty big, about 36% yesterday. And I think we caught a small swing of that downward momentum, made an update video and said, hey, look, now we're making an experiment at this point. Are we going to see a recovery? It's a small position. We're not risking a lot. And it is starting to recover here more than almost any other company. Now, guys, I was thinking about the data center space. And obviously, we're seeing more pressure on the US to build data centers or just to build in-house manufacturing, right? And you can take a look at this company specifically, Applied Digital. They specialize in the factories or of AI. The AI revolution demands infrastructure that delivers optimized performance, scalability, and energy efficiency to drive innovation. And as you can see, they're in it. They're working on building these data centers. They've built quite a few, I believe. And so, one of the things that you got to look at, we saw a big move for tech from the Stargate 500 billion. But what about this recent 500 billion from Nvidia? They said Nvidia to produce AI servers worth up to 500 billion in the US over the next 4 years. So Nvidia's doubling down, and they had a $5.5 billion loss here with the China chip crackdown. So really not able to offer as much to China because of some of the tariffs that are happening. And I'm actually even considering, I mean, let me know, these are there's some countries that are playing tariff chess with the US right now. And even China seems to be a little bit cornered at the moment. At least that's the way I see it. And one of the questions that I was asking was, you know, what can we see? What has to happen for the US to come out on top in these types of things? And I don't want to say that because obviously I would rather just see who's going to serve better and as a result be rewarded. That's ultimately what we're asking. And well, things like this, you see Nvidia's building 500 billion to build facilities here. The global demand for chips mostly is coming out of Taiwan, some in Asia, some in Japan, but primarily Taiwan and the US. Alexa, stop. So, and US companies still lead in semiconductors. You got NVIDIA, you got AMD, ASML, who actually, ASML, if we take a look, I think, double check me, but I think they got earnings here today pre-markets. They reported earnings. And what were our targets there? We were saying ASML. We had targets for ASML of 625, potentially down to 625, or if it's really bullish, up to 700. Is that right? Yeah, that's what we set for this week. And this is inside of Stockmate, if you guys ever want these targets. And let's take a look at ASML. So some more semiconductor looks. They did drop. So they actually dropped 7% after earnings today. Little bit above our target of 625. They're at 635. And so semiconductors were getting hit today. That was why we were trading SOXL today. Is that right? Or was it SOXS? SOXS. SOXS today was what we traded in our daily live session in StockMate. So if you guys ever want to watch me trade live, it's the second link in the description. At one point we were up big. Now it just stabled off. But look at that. It soared to $28. And what happened last time is we saw a big momentum build, and semiconductor bears in the sinkage of semiconductors, they shot up huge on this bear. So when the market goes down, this bear goes up. This is what we'd like to trade. But we don't just trade it, right? It's not just trading. It's really looking at the reason why is because like APLD, they might see some more revenue. If they're building more data centers in the US, that's why we got our attention on them. That's why I think they might recover here. And it's also why we're playing this experiment. And then at the same time, just because Nvidia says we're investing 500 billion, or just because Apple says we're investing 500 billion in building manufacturing or what have you, the reality is it's still going to take some time for them to build these facilities. I mean, here it says 4 years. Now, with that time that it's going to take, it essentially means that we still could see some short-term sell-offs in semiconductors. I mean, we see it today. Nvidia is down 7%. SML is down, but APLD, it's still kind of recovering there. I'm curious to see how it plays out tomorrow. We got a small position, just about 165 shares. So that's the update for APLD. When it comes to what we're watching closely on the tariff war, I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think? I would like to do a challenge where we open up some of the daily live sessions in StockMate that you can join, and you can join our live sessions, and we could do, let's say, a 1 week of live sessions. You get in for free. You get to see what it's like. And we have an intense focus on trading moves that are specifically impacted in the markets by the tariff trades, the tariff wars. And I think I'll call it something like the 10K tariff challenge. And what we could do is, I'm going to assume people investing, maybe they have, I don't know, let's say 50,000. Some people have a lot less. Some people have a lot more. But 20% in a week. Last week we did 14%. So I guess that's a little more bullish than this week. But maybe this next week we aim for a 20% week, and we trade specifically stocks impacted by the tariffs, and we call it the 10K tariff challenge. That would be a 20% gain. And how many of you guys would see value if you could get 20% by the end of, let's say, next week or the week after that in returns on your portfolio in this market? How many of you guys would be super, like, if I could hand you that, what would you say? You'd say, yeah, of course. Let's do it. Now, maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but I think that there's a lot of generational, once in history type of movements we're seeing right now that we're able to take advantage of. And this is why we're seeing APLD. I think this recovery potentially is going to continue. We'll see. But it's the manufacturing of data centers that's going to play a key role. It's the semiconductors selling off short term, but long term looking really bullish. But near term, breaking down the tariffs, some of the news, some of the tech stocks, the AI innovations. These are the types of opportunities that can really turn a small account of investing into something real. Like, these are the type of opportunities back in 2020 that transformed my account when I started to see Nvidia get traction and COVID hit. I mean, that the whole US having certain leverage here and control of global demand in certain areas, the tech dominance of some of these companies, I think there's a lot of opportunities, and we're going to be seeing how we could capitalize on them. So what do you guys think about making that happen? If you want to be there, let me know if that's a challenge we think we should do. In the meantime, if you guys want to join us in our live sessions tomorrow morning, we do go live each day at Market Open. I would encourage you guys to join us there at Market Open. It's that second link in the description. There's a huge sale. You can get in, not even a subscription or anything like that, just one-time payment for lifetime access to join us at Market Open. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you all. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. When it comes down to APLD, we'll be watching it closely here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.